culture only takes you so far with talent. Do you agree?
No.
You don't agree?
No. So when I'm talking about culture, it's not some nice sounding thing. I'm talking about people who will go the extra
Who are
mile,
committed.
who have a can-do spirit, and say, Abimbola, don't worry, this isn't working. Let's try this. Because some people say, oh, Abimbola, which is more important, competence or capability? As in whether it's the culture they're bringing. I say it's culture first. Because if you draw it 2 by 2, you need someone who is fully competent and fully committed.
Yes, that's the ideal scenario.
That's the ideal scenario. But as an early stage entrepreneur, you may not always be able to get fully committed, fully competent. Therefore, be ready to shift your expectations.
When do you use performance improvement plans, PIPs, and when do you simply say, you know what, tomorrow, please drop your laptop, drop your ID, and it's been great?
Lola, we hire for technical skills, right? And that's spark. But I've seen us fire more for behavioral infringement than poor performance.
Welcome to Periscope, the podcast that allows you to scale your idea from 0 to 100. We discuss a range of topics on this show, from fundraising, financing, marketing, tech, HR, legal, and all the messy bits in between. This is the show where you will learn everything that you need to take your amazing idea from start all the way through to scale. I am Lola, and I am the host of the show today. And with me, I have Abimbola. You want to introduce yourself briefly, Abimbola?
Hi, Lola. Nice to be here with you. My name is Abimbola Adebakin. I am a pharmacist, but right now I'm the founder and the CEO of Advantage Health Africa.
You know, I love that you have blended pharmacy and business, which you don't find very often. And I'm curious to know how or why you decided to go down that road.
So I think that business or entrepreneurship or things that create value and turn into profit, that is how we will sustainably solve African problems. When I say African, it could apply to any other continent, but I'm African and I need to focus here. So I see many social issues, yet I understand that if you twist the same issue around or flip the coin, you might see an opportunity there. Now, many times we want to solve those problems with some interventions, and they're beautiful, they're well intended. But to solve it sustainably, why don't we go through the angle of a business? Something that will...
So for profit.
It's for profit, it's commercial, and it can have a life of its own that will even surprise the initiator in such a manner that it will resoundingly solve the problem and also be meaningful for you. So I'm all for business. I'm so sold out to business in education, business in business in healthcare. Any sector you can think of that is still underdeveloped in Africa is crying out for business solutions. I'm not saying you must come and be a scavenger or you must come and be exploitative, but you must find what is the angle here that is calling for a business, a solution that is sustainable.
And we're going to unpack that when we get to the deeper conversation.
Sure.
But clearly, we also know that in business, you can't do it alone. You need a team around you. And at the very early stages, you often may not be able to afford that team, right? For whatever reason, right? They're way beyond your budget. You're not able to retain even those that you hire into the business. And that's a big topic. So our topic for the show today is hiring top talent on a budget. And I'm curious to just very quickly get your thoughts on how you've been able to do that, or some observations that you've seen in your day-to-day hiring your team for Advantage Health Africa.
First of all, Lola, I'm a very lucky person.
Okay.
I am lucky. So you might you might find that I am not able to fully articulate how come I've made a success of this. I will attempt to. But the fundamental is to know that this is one of my blessings. I attract good people. I attract curious people. I attract people who have a can-do spirit. Honestly, if you're giving me people with that mix, I'm good. Because the competence will then come. Because we'll then roll up our sleeves and figure it out how to do. But I need those ingredients initially.
So you help them figure it out. You work alongside them to learn.
We work together to figure it out. Because I haven't been...
They're not doing their jobs, because that's a whole nother, kettle of fish. If you then have to basically do their jobs for them to allow them learn it.
It's tempting. It's a temptation all of us struggle with.
Yeah.
We all want to do, because we're like, do it this way. You don't want to micromanage, but you're almost tempted to micromanage. So I have learned how not to micromanage. I may be able to talk to you about that. But I'm intentional about getting those three perspectives first of all. Particularly someone who comes with a can-do spirit, who is not daunted by it's never been done before.
So we can't figure it out.
We can't figure it out.
So the mindset is so important.
The mindset first.
Yeah.
The mindset first.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm blind to those who have not come with that mindset, but I think almost everyone has come with that mindset. To the point that I'm almost aware that, come on, this person has just come, there must be a project this person is coming to do. It came to that point that if I met you, Lola, and I hear you and you begin to find an interest in my business, and I can see those three qualities, I'm like, what's Lola here to come to do? Something is happening.
Sure that we are leveraging what she's bringing in to add value for the business.
Yeah.
Incredible. So that's a very much a pull strategy, right? Versus you actively going out to source. Do you actively source for talent?
Now we do.
Okay.
Now we do.
Based off of your size and off of your scale.
Based off of size and where we're operating in. So Advantage Health Africa gets medicines to people all across the country. We have the direct to consumer, where we leverage over 1,000 pharmacies.
Amazing. Over 1,000 pharmacies.
Yeah, so we pick their inventory and get it to the last mile. But we also have our own workforce, a sales team that goes out to ensure that products that are ours, franchised to us, get to the very last mile, get to the hospitals, get to the pharmacies. So that workforce is important. To support that workforce, we've got a central team. So
based in Lagos?
Yeah, based in Lagos. So we're over 100 now.
Oh, incredible.
And for us, we've grown to a point where I'm not the only one involved in recruiting. There are others. I come from the perspective that I don't have to be the only one in recruiting. Those who I have charged with that responsibility know what we're looking for. They know the mindset. They know that, is this person going to fit into the culture? Because AHA, we have a distinct culture. And we can hire you for technical skills, but just be mindful that we're also looking for a fit.
Right.
And so when you do come in, we know that you must fit. Otherwise, you find your way out.
I really love the point you just made, because founders sometimes hire for competence and forget the fact that fit, culture, synergy is so important.
Oh, yes.
So
I put fit first. From the very first...
Ahead of competence even.
I put fit first. It's so important. Otherwise, I won't sleep. And I like to sleep. I love my sleep. I love peace. I love calmness. I have this calm energy. So I know people can destroy that energy. Therefore, I need to have people that I am happy with, to know that, look, they're good. Even if they misbehave. I know often that I would attack it first from a misbehavior, from a lack of knowledge, from some improper values that we should address, not sweep under the carpet. So I'll give you an example. Earlier today, we had a team-wide meeting, and someone had misbehaved with a senior manager. And I said, okay, no problem. Bring it to my attention for the team-wide meeting. And at the meeting, we had done all the operational discussions. Towards the end, we were going to have a culture series. We call it culture
Okay.
series.
And you have that every week during your...
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, okay, during the team meeting.
During that team meeting, it's 10 minutes for anyone who's been picked randomly to come to speak about one of our 6 core values. I said, excuse me, before we go there, I need to bring this up. So I brought it up, and I brought my whole force that we don't do that here. You know, I spoke all the grammar, all the English. You would have been proud of me. And I said it all. Then someone called me after and said his wife was listening, but I didn't say, who exists you? I said, Kai, I missed that. I should have added that too. Who exists you? Why do you think it is all right for you to behave in this manner? We don't do that here. So I put that in because it's our culture. Once you allow bad behavior to continue, what you're essentially doing is you are rotting.
You're corrupting the core.
You are corrupting it. So I thanked the person who brought it to my attention because some will say, oh, why did you go and tell Abimbola? I hate that. The person who brought it to my attention likes me.
Yes.
Likes me, wants the best for my company, wants the best for this business, who is eager to make sure we're growing. So if you're hiding and covering things, then you are not going for the best. And you might think you're tackling it. That's fine. I want you to be enabled to tackle, but please surface the issues. Don't overlook them and don't sweep them under the carpet. Bring them up. Let us tackle it. So that the person who misbehaved might actually have a reset. And so, oh, they don't talk like that here.
Yeah, so let's make sure that
that person will become a better ambassador.
Myself.
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic. There's a lot for us to deep dive during this episode. We'll talk about culture, about fit, about attracting folks with the right energy for your business and affording those people as well. Again, my name is Lola, and our topic today is hiring top talent on a budget.
I think if you can't pay top Naira, you can still hire the right people. Because I have discovered that it's not just about money.
So if it's not just about money, what else is it about? Can't wait to hear more on how best to hire top talent for your business. Let's get started. Cascador is our partner making today's conversation possible. If you are a mid-stage founder, then Cascador is for you. It's an intensive program that combines education, leadership, mentorship, and access to a $2 million catalytic fund to allow you scale your business. Whether you're looking to refine your leadership, pressure test your ideas, or get connected to a community of advisors, Cascador is the place to allow you do that. Apply for the next Cascador program at cascador.org. So our topic today is how to hire top talent on a budget. And I have a very special guest that will break this down for us, how to attract the right people for the right culture, the right fit, clearly the right compensation package, not just money, just as we had mentioned earlier. Abimbola, pleasure to have you here.
My pleasure to be here.
You started your business 9 years ago, so it's been a journey for sure. Let's talk about those initial early hires, right? The first 2, 3, 4, 5 people that helped kick this off with you.
I think the very first person, Olawale.
You remember him very clearly?
Of course I do.
Is he still with you?
No, not any longer. But not working with me, but still in my periphery.
Amazing.
Olawale came because I had gone to speak somewhere. And for some reason, he missed what I was saying. And afterwards, he saw a lot of people coming behind to ask for my card. He said, let me grab your card. And somehow he reached out within weeks to say, I see you're doing so and so, how can I help? That was very uncommon.
Amazing, yes, actually.
It was very uncommon, and just reaching out to ask, how can I help? Incidentally, I had something he could help with. And I needed him to go somewhere, help me get a database and so on. And I sent 5,000 Naira to him at that time. You know, Lawale did the work and wanted to send the change to me.
That's so unusual.
So I was wanting to change on 5K, you know. So
Well, 5K 9 years ago is not the same 5K today. So we should also
Lola,
just put that down.
Lola it stood out.
Yeah.
And I really thought, oh, nice. And then I had another assignment and another one. And then I told him, you know what? Then he said he needed a full-time job. And I said, okay, I know a certain place. You can go and work there. And he started working there for them. They liked him. But months in, I then said, are you still interested in working with me? And he left and came to work. So that was my number one hire. And Olawale was very young. But I promote a first name basis. So both of us would go from pharmacy to pharmacy, and they would hear him calling me Abimbola, and they'd be very curious. He could pass as my son, but I regarded him as a full-time staff
member. So that respect is clearly key
there.
On both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
I respected him, of course. He would do his work. He would write his notes. Not the standard I was used to, but you can see he's clearly put some thought into this work. And he was growing rapidly. When he then said he was going to serve, I was like, oh, you've not served. You know, I didn't...
So you did not check that even, right? Because that wasn't a top priority for you. It was more about the person and the ability to actually get the job done versus certifications, NYSC degrees, and
Lola,
so on.
let me shock you. I don't know what he studied.
Wow. I
have several people. In fact, I have someone in HR. And the first day I realized she was an architect. I had to do a double, so how did I miss this? Because somehow that part of my brain is more or less just sorted. That people come in different shapes and form. And I'm open to that variety. I'm open to that diversity. It is clear to me, from where I worked, because getting into Accenture, one thing that stood out for me when I heard about the place was they take anybody from Yoruba to neuroscience. So I could fit in there as a pharmacist. And somehow it rewired my brain that wasn't top priority. Now, if I need a specific role, like a pharmacist, of course.
Or a finance person.
But we even have some people in finance who have learned to then earn their icon on the job. Yes. But there are roles now that, okay, we're more specific about. And so we hire for that. But generally, the background doesn't quite.
So let me push on that point, which is you're hiring talent that is learning on the job, and in some cases even getting certified on the job. And if I think about a finance person, for example, are you saying that they already have the skills but may not have the stamp? Or you're saying that even if they don't necessarily have the skills, if they have the right personality, the right approach, willingness to work, eagerness, you will take them on board and be patient with them to learn that skill set?
It is that, but let me qualify it.
Yes, please.
It is all that. See, if you do the work of defining what you need, you'll be able to break it down to clear expectations. If what I need here is curiosity, ability to sift, ability to consolidate, ability to follow up, and so on, those things are not tied to a degree. Now, if in finance, I need someone who has clear understanding of all the IFRS, all the rules, yes, I need that. And it might come from you being certified as a CFA or
ICANN
a chartered
or ACCA,
accountant,
whatever else it is.
But if what I need from you is bookkeeping, keeping the numbers, making sure they are readily available, they are updated daily or regularly, periodically, then it is not the degree.
Someone with a math background, someone with
an analytical
mindset can do that just as well.
Absolutely. And in the early stages of setting up a business, you cannot afford to overload your pay bracket, your payroll with heavy hitters. You can't afford it. And then sometimes at the early stages, you would undercompensate with work and then undercompensate with money, which is why I have the philosophy, it's not just about money.
You would undercompensate
with work
and then
undercompensate with money.
For work,
You must give people what is befitting to their capacity. If at an early stage I just need 10% of you, you can't throw in your all, because then my business isn't quite fit or suited for your capacity.
So in that case, you'd hire them in a fractional role, or you would not hire them at all?
I hire two types of people.
Okay.
I hire people who can come in with a lot of oomph, a lot of interest, but can't be full-time. So I define what I need. Remember I said, if you know what you need, I define what I need, and I say, I need you to deliver this like a consultant. And I pay you based on your consultancy. So it's more or less I've outsourced that to the person. That person is not a full-time staff. But
that's fully transparent. So it's not a case where
it's transparent, and I also need to know what
else is going on with them, so you could also manage your responsibilities and expectations from them.
Yes, in managing expectations, managing what's going on around them. I know they have a full-time job or another part-time thing, or they're just not able to fully commit. So I must dimension the work into bits that we can measure that you have done well. And I actually tell a lot of entrepreneurs this, because some people say, oh, Abimbola, which is more important, competence or capability, as in whether it's the culture they're bringing. I say it's culture first, because if you draw it 2 by 2, you need someone who is fully competent and fully committed.
Yes, that's the ideal scenario.
That's the ideal scenario. But as an early stage entrepreneur, you may not always be able to get fully committed, fully competent. Therefore, be ready to shift your expectations. You would have some people who are fully competent but are partially committed. Pay for that. Understand that. I had people who will do some capacity building sessions, and that's all they come in for, because I needed to train pharmacists. So they'll come in for that, get paid for that, but are they AHA people? In their minds they are. They're all rooting for me, but they can't do this full time.
Now, culture only takes you so far with talent. Do you agree?
No.
You don't agree?
No.
So at some point, though, you will need, so let's take, for example, fundraising, right? You've hired a bookkeeper that has the right culture, very energetic, eager to work. And that's great in your first 6 months, maybe even your first 12 to 18 months. As you evolve, I would imagine that you want a bit more sophistication, right? If you're going to be fundraising, maybe someone that can, that is client-facing, as we say, right? Investor-ready, that can talk the talk, can pitch, can present, can represent you without you always being there. Don't you then see that there is a limit or there's a ceiling to which that culture or that energy can take that individual?
When you put it in that way, yes.
Okay.
But we were talking about early stage.
Fair enough.
Now,
even at the earlier stages, right?
No. For me, I'd rather throw an Olawale out there and help him know what to do, and he gets there and he's creative. I know his mind is in the right place. I know his confidence is high. There's certain things I'm looking out for. Olawale will improvise. He will go the extra mile. I've seen people who came to work with me, even on a part-time basis, drive to Ikorodu at 11 p.m. to do stock taking overnight and go back home at 6 a.m. Part-time.
Incredible.
Now there's some full-time, fully qualified people who would not do that. Their work is 8 to 5.
And then they're done.
That's what I'm talking about, culture. I need to know you go the extra mile, not because Abimbola is putting pressure on you or you want to impress me with nothingness, but because you know this has to be done.
For the business.
This is the best. We can only do the stock taking overnight. You get the point? So when I'm talking about culture, it's not some nice sounding thing. I'm talking about people who will go the extra mile. Who are committed, who have a can-do spirit, and say, but don't worry, this isn't working. Let's try this. My second hire came from Twitter. I saw his profile and I saw pharmacist and graphic artist. I said, this someone like me. Odd, quick. All right. Hello.
Let's have a conversation.
Yes. And from Twitter, we started conversing, and I assigned him. He was based in Port Harcourt at that time, and he brought his friend along. So he brought someone along. And that's
to also join AHA.
To join AHA.
Okay.
And so
even though you were not hiring for that person, so you had to worry about salary for this other individual. Okay.
There was work to be done.
Okay.
And then I'm fortunate in that I tend to attract people who are ready for anything, right? And so if I'm able to define, great, he's a pharmacist. I say, oh, beautiful. If I would need to create this database for this online pharmacy, and so I need someone who has database, and I said, don't worry. He said, don't worry, my friend. He wanted to bring 4 more. I said,
no.
There were 6 of them. So I said, no, just these 2.
We're still early stage.
These 2 are okay.
We still need, funding to keep the business running. Okay, we'll come back to some of the points that you've raised. To summarize some 3 points that you've mentioned around what you look for. The first is someone who is truly committed to the business. Second is a strong can-do attitude to go the extra mile to get the job done. And then third is definitely prioritizing culture, commitment, etc. over what we typically will call, experience, right? Or certification. Okay, that's clear. Now, we'll come back to how you attract those types of people and how you also assess for those types of people. But before we do that, let's understand AHA. Let's understand why you began this business, where the idea came from. You mentioned you were in consulting. So tell us how you went from consulting for Accenture and working with Tony Elumelu Foundation. You mentioned that also during the Meet the Guest, and how you evolved from there to starting AHA.
Okay. I think AHA started from a need or an embarrassment, really.
Okay.
A family member needed medicines. I wasn't practicing pharmacy at that time. He needed something, and it's not very common, but I thought, oh, don't worry. Let's go. We were living in Surulere then. Let's go over to the island. There are lots of fancy pharmacies there. We will find
get what we want.
They went to 9, and none had it. And I was quite embarrassed. Because I was looking at, you're a pharmacist now.
Yeah, you should know where to get this.
Eventually we cracked it, and where we found it, Lola, you've never been to such a place.
You made me surprised.
Legit pharmacy, but it doesn't really come to your sight, your line of sight readily. And I had to sit back and say, come on. I've seen that this was just an aha moment, but I've seen many people need medicines and they go around 6-5 pharmacies and they just can't complete their prescription. And I could see that it was common. And this was when e-commerce was emerging. And I thought, if we can order food that someone is biking to you and can open it and say, this Lola, you cannot cook in your house, just to be nasty, and you would trust that meal and you would eat it, then why can't we order medicines? And I looked around and I could find only one online pharmacy. I checked their systems and I thought, no, this is not scalable.
It's not comprehensive enough. The inventory was quite lean.
It wasn't even just the inventory. It was a pharmacy located in 2 places. And I thought, this isn't the idea. I go abroad and I can order anything and they would consolidate from their various points.
The reach was very limited.
So that reach, I thought, no, let's do it this way. Let me aggregate pharmacies. I can speak to pharmacists. I understand them, they understand me. They would trust me. So I became an evangelist, so to speak, of aggregation. And I said, many of you are sitting on inventory and it's dead in your pharmacy because it's not moving fast enough. Let me bring some access to market for you where I can consolidate orders, bring to you, and then we fulfill through you.
I see.
And that's the model. And then we built it up, built a platform for it, and launched it October 1st, 2017.
Amazing. Independence Day.
Yes, and that was called My Medicines.
Okay.
Prior to launching.
So that's a website that folks can go to, or they have to download the app, or what's the format to get access to it? Both. Okay.
Now, but we quickly learned even WhatsApp.
Right.
Many people would go to the website, find the medicine, and then come to the WhatsApp and say,
please,
I
want
need
to
that
order
medicine. So e-commerce
They want to engage
was
with
still
someone.
nascent, yes.
Yeah.
And I think for health, you want to engage. So we've opened multiple platforms. You can send us an SMS or WhatsApp, email, go to our platform. Now you can download a mobile app. Anyway, just get to us and we'll get medicines to you.
Incredible.
So that was how we started, and it's called My Medicine. That solution is called My Medicines. And it's grown up until today. Earlier today, there was feedback again. Someone ordered at 10:21 and said
in the morning.
This morning, and got the medicine 11:39.
Incredible.
For us, that's under 2 hours.
Turnaround time. Even for the food delivery guys, you sometimes don't get your meal that fast.
Yeah, talking about food. What about electronics, books, and so on? It takes days. So we knew we had to be able to set up a system that could respond quickly, less than 4 hours, and we're doing it. If you're in Kaduna, we know where to pick from to bring to you in Kaduna. So we've delivered in Shepateri. Shepateri.
I don't know what that is actually.
I'm not surprised. So there's someone who lives here in Lagos and his mom needs medicine, so he uses our services for both his mom and his dad, and we deliver to Shepateri.
Where's Shepateri?
Shepateri is in the border of Oyo State with Benin Republic. Over there. It's about 3 hours from Ibadan. People hardly go there. So we're talking about access. These are semi-urban and rural areas where we're able to take medicines to. So we even had to partner with NIPOST at a point in time. Now, who has the breadth of being able to reach all 774 local government areas? It's NIPOST. And they were like, no, we don't pick up and then go and drop off. We had to convince them. So for us, they opened up and said, okay, let's try. And their courier service, did that. So we had to partner with people where because let's try.
Interesting.
Let's try, and that's where we're at.
And you make money through commissions from the pharmacy. So they're the ones paying, and I guess the extra delivery charge the client will pay for that.
The client pays for it.
Okay. And do you have your own logistics, or you partner with NIPOS and other logistics providers?
It's a mix.
Let's understand AHA's scale in numbers.
Okay.
So we know that you're 9 years old.
Yes.
Talk us through employee size. If you can share financial, numbers, revenue, etc., number of pharmacies, scale, just so that we have a sense of what you have built for the last 9 years.
Okay. So in terms of the back end, we have over 1,000 pharmacies.
Over 1,000 pharmacies.
In every state. So September 2024, we had crossed being able to deliver in every state. And that for us was very impressive.
So to clarify, 1,000 each in each state, or 1,000? So
Across.
you are in every state. Okay.
We're in every state. Okay. No, Nigeria doesn't have up to 6,000 pharmacies. So we have that presence. We have 3 main divisions in the business. My Medicines is what we call market access.
Okay.
Making medicines accessible. So it serves people direct to consumer. And that leg of the pharmacy brings in about 40% of our total revenue.
Okay.
The second leg of the business brings in about 60% of the revenue, which is where, as we began to move along, we did some backward integration. And so we distribute products, our own pharmaceutical products.
So you have your own brand?
Yes.
Of Panadol?
Of products.
Of products,
so
okay.
These ones that you would know us for, DHA Plus, HB12/9, are ours exclusively to distribute. And they're manufactured by a local manufacturer, and we are the distributors.
I see.
So that accounts for 60-65% of our revenues. So in all, we have, as a last payroll, 107 staff. About 86 of them are full-time, and others are interns.
Amazing.
And it comes to my point about how did I attract
Let's talk
people.
about that. Yes. So how do you attract the right type of people to AHA?
I found out very early that I was able to attract curious people who wanted a different type of pharmacy business. They wanted pharmacy mixed with tech. pharmacy mixed with supply chain, pharmacy mixed with capacity building, and somehow I
And with
represent
impact too.
I represent that. So impact now, in fact, so we attract those sorts of people. And then you'd find them coming in organized fashion or one by one. And in the early
So when you say organized fashion, what do you mean?
So someone like Lola would train 60 people and then you look for where to place them. So you organized interns and we will say, oh, we want two that can code, one that can do AI, another that can handle graphics and so on.
So are these recruitment agencies or they're a bit different from your typical recruitment agencies? I've not heard this model. I'm not quite familiar with this model. So let's hear more about it.
They're young enterprising people who say health and health tech needs a different set of skills and understanding. And then they take people through the rigor of just understanding the sector, understanding the startup nature, and getting the entrepreneurial skills that they need to come and work with us. So some they shadow us. They want to set up a health tech solution themselves. They want to see how this one works. So I'm not open to say, come, because the sky is big, right? Come and learn. We've had people from Tanzania work with us remotely because they want to know about telepharmacy and telemedicine and so on and so forth. So those are the kind of programs.
Interesting. Now that raises a bunch of questions around just the bandwidth to manage that group of people. I assume that that's not a money-making business for you. Probably pay them a small stipend, possibly, right? Accommodate them, possibly, right? So just curious to know why you actually do that. Is it more from a pipeline to AHA? Is it more purely part of your passion and mission to bring up young professionals and leverage your own skills and gifts to raise them up, or is there something else driving you doing that? Because it's not traditional for sure.
It makes business sense, Lola. It makes business sense. Many of these people come and they work. They throw themselves into the work. They come eager to learn, but inadvertently, we learn from ourselves. They handle some areas and we then offer them a full-time role. And we have some who have stayed. We have our CSR tied fully into training young pharmacists. That's what we've committed to for 10 years. And we're running that CSR with the regulator, Pharmacist Council of Nigeria. From that program, almost every year, I have people who ask, can I come and work with you full-time? So I have thrown my weight behind capacity building and in any shape or form, in such a manner that they're inspired to come to work with the business that I talk about. So it's made business sense. It helps me to access a lot of people. It also helps me to be able to fill roles because we have a pipeline that we can quickly draw on. And it also brings in curious people who are willing to make mistakes or make errors, and we still get on well.
Fantastic.
So I've attracted volunteers from a very long time.
Let's talk about retaining them. So it's one thing to attract them. It's something else to actually retain your very good hands with the business. And early stage businesses struggle with this, right? Because you bring someone in, you train them, you expose them to the way that you work, you upskill them, and then they're off to take on, the next job for just slightly higher pay in some cases. So what's your retention strategy?
So for me, retention, you have to be realistic. What is a reasonable period of time to have someone work with you? Back then, it was 10 years. After a while, we found it was more realistic, 5 years.
5 years.
What is realistic for now? First of all, you need to have that understanding. If someone works with me for a year, 2 years, and decides to move on, I have no bad feelings. So I needed to understand what...
And be comfortable with 2 years. Yeah.
It's not the best. I would love to have people work with me for 10 years. But guess what? You may carry someone who is too heavy for 10 years.
Right.
So just have a balance. The second thing I believe is that you want to retain people on salary, you cannot succeed.
Why do you say that? Because banks do it all the time.
I'm not sure banks are telling you the truth.
There are people that don't like banking. They don't want to be in finance, but they're there because they
And
get
they're
paid a lot.
frustrated there.
Yes, they're frustrated.
A
but they're still
frustrated person
would not give their
cannot
best.
be fully engaged. And I need engaged people because we're in new territories. We need people who can try new things and are not grumbling, are not thinking they're doing me a favor. They must want to work. So I don't want to retain people that are grumbling and are just here because the salary is too good. I cannot lose it too. No. Not that I'm intentionally paying people below, but I'm just saying you work here, it isn't because of the pay. I'll pay you a right amount and I'll keep edging to make sure you have benefits. So we'd look for creative ways to pay bonuses. We'd look for ways to make sure that, you get something to go home with. When we had a spike in transportation cost, we carved out money specifically for junior to mid-senior to make sure they had extra funding. And then we radically changed our way of working to be more remote than in the office. So you could spend less time on the road and less money. So my point is, people must see you are intentional about them. That for me is much more than that you're paying a big salary. The way we're intentional about our staff, make them feel valued.
So what specific things do you do? So you mentioned one, which is subsidizing transportation, moving to a bit more of a hybrid structure. What other specific things do you do within AHA to attract and retain the right people in your organization, even if they're only with you for 2 years?
Let me give
maybe
you
3.
Let me give you maybe examples will help.
Yes, that'll be very
we're
valuable.
having an anniversary milestone, and we were low in cash. Sometimes it can be great on the books, paper profits, but cash is anything.
Very different.
And we were low in cash, and I said, you know what? We cannot afford any party. And we had a brainwave. Maybe I had a brainwave. I don't know who exactly had a brainwave, but I rode with it. Instead of having a party, find out. So everybody, bring your parents, bring your mother or father. Some people had just mother, bring their name. Some parents are living in Calabar, bring. And we sent a care package to every parent.
How lovely.
Lola, you think it's lovely. If you know the kind of videos, recordings these parents sent to us, saying they've never heard of this kind of thing before. Oh, this is beautiful. Prayers upon prayers. The staff themselves felt good because their parents felt they were working in an important place.
Organization.
The kind of organization that is scary. If you had a child working somewhere and they're nasty, wouldn't you be the one helping to
them
look
to
for
find somewhere else to go?
But we have parents who are urging them to stay. We didn't do it for that. We did it because we just wanted to mark that milestone. And we
do it differently versus the typical party.
We just did it to say, if we can't give the staff something that will impress them, give their parents. And parents liked it. A package with a medicine, a nice those bottles, something, and a t-shirt also.
So something simple, doesn't have to be elaborate.
Lola, we're intentional about our people. The other thing is that they know when Abimbola says we cannot pay this thing, we cannot pay.
And not really.
We keep our word.
They trust that you are not taking out and then just not giving to the team.
Well, I hope they don't think I'm taking out. But we're very intentional about being truthful and being transparent. So last year we had promised, because cost of living was really jumping for the past 3 years. So we had promised there would be a salary increase. But I can't increase because I have a board. I have a board I'm accountable to. So I had to pass through the board. And of course the board will ask you certain questions. Then we go back to the team and say, we're working with the board. They've asked this thing, but don't worry, we will sort it out because we will come to that point. And at a point when the board approved, we couldn't pay. So we went back to the team and said, board has approved. We cannot pay you.
Yet.
We will pay you, I think that approval came in February, and we said we'll pay you in July. So everybody expects a salary increase from July. From June, I knew it was not going to happen.
Based off of the numbers and how the business was
we're
performing.
seeing there were certain things happening that cash would just not flow, or would start and then not continue. And we have not broken salaries in the year since for about 7-8 years. Every month you get your salary. You may think salary, but is normal. In the very mature organizations, yes, it is normal. But in smaller organizations or entrepreneurs, it's a big deal.
It is, absolutely.
So I didn't want a situation where we'd start and then stop. So I told them, look, July is coming. I try to write once a month kind of thing. July is coming. We're unable to pay you that promised salary. It's all been sorted and worked out, but cash is not available to do it. There are 3 milestones we must hit in September. If we meet them,
then we would have the cash.
We hit 2 and we said, let's start. So from September, we started. And the feedback from staff was, you people do what you say you
would do. So that level of trust,
that
transparency, and sticking with your commitment to your employees as well.
So when I say it's not just about salary, I mean it. The last part I would mention now is the vision. So I think one of my biggest rules in AHA is to share a key vision that anyone who works in AHA knows that we're going somewhere. Now, it's not boo-boo, and it's not to just, string you along. It's for you to understand you're part of a meaningful venture. Sharing feedback about how we are impacting people's lives.
And how transparent do you get with your team? So it's one thing to share impact metrics, for example, right? We recruited 1,000 pharmacies across all states in Nigeria. When it comes to your earlier point on cash flow, how transparent can you realistically get as a business leader with your team to the point where they believe that this truly is the case, without also scaring them that, what, maybe I should go find somewhere else because this business looks like, it might not be fully solid just yet.
We've had that too. So we've swung to the fully transparent, full disclosure, and it was too dangerous.
Yes.
And so we this is a measured disclosure.
So what do you do? What do you disclose to your team?
So every 2 weeks, all teams, there are four departments. All 4 departments declare their business. If you're hitting 40% of your revenue, you have to declare it.
Okay.
If you're on 35, what is the actual number and how are you going to bridge it?
Okay. So targets are all transparent.
Yeah, all
performance
clear.
Management is very regular.
Very clear, very regular, and everybody knows, and you can question. So even if a senior manager is presenting, you should be able to ask, what are you doing to bring our money in? Because I can see there's a lot of receivables and so on. So more people understand even the business we're doing. I think I've seen some organizations that people don't even understand how you're making money.
To be honest, yes.
And where some of our money is coming from, grants, we announce all the grants. We announce what we're applying for. We announce when we win those that don't come with money. We announce so even when we couldn't raise capital, I had to ensure people understood that, look, for every receivable out there, this is the cost of capital. This is what is happening when we say go and collect our funds and all of that.
It impacts this.
I think we're as transparent as we should be.
Where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
What do you not share with your team that you reserve for either the board or just the closest, most senior management?
I think the team may not know what our exact margins are.
Okay.
They may not know that. But for board meetings, I attend the board meeting with the 4 executives that work with me.
Okay, across the 4
So all 5 of us know. So it's not just Abimbola. But some people don't know margins. But they know the impact of margins. Because there are some units that the margins are high, the margins are low, but these ones have receivables, these ones are paid immediately. So it's a blend. You should understand that. I'm not quite sure what else they don't know.
That's actually quite
Maybe they don't know.
unusual, right? The level of transparency that you have
Lola,
in your business.
I'm very intentional.
So you found that to also help with attracting the right people and keeping retaining them with you.
Retaining the right people.
Mm-hmm.
I think transparency, caring, being intentional about their engagement level, and watching culture, those are factors that are very important and sometimes more important than just what you pay people.
Let's discuss equity.
Okay.
Do you use equity as a compensation lever or not? If you do, how do you think through that? How do you determine who you give it to? How do you determine how much to give out and when to give it out?
So equity as compensation came up when I was going to hire a particular executive. And in terms of pay, this person was going to earn a certain amount plus perks, plus bonus, plus equity. So articulating it and following through, it was clear that he's motivated in that manner. I had another executive who hadn't negotiated such, but I thought their work was equally balanced. And then we granted equity to that person. It wasn't negotiated, but it was part of, let's compensate for this reason. And then the board passed that through. We also have early starters, the Olawale that I was mentioning, and a few other early people who have a percentage in the company. So when you say Olawale is not with me, he's not with me, but he's with me.
But he's with you.
So when I was taking on angel investors, it was clear to them that I have this commitment to certain people, early associates, I call them, that I would like to give a certain percentage in block 2. And then we set out aside some percentage for executives that would come on. We don't quite have an ESOP now.
Okay.
But we set up a 3-man team of the staff to work out, okay, this is our valuation. So they know our valuation. And this is what is possible if we had an ESOP in place, and they worked out the details. So the details are worked out. Like, I try not to rush into things. They know it will come out eventually.
When the time is right. Yeah, fantastic. So you mentioned that you hired 2 senior executives and you had a relatively robust pay package, right? With perks, bonuses, equity also thrown in. At what point do you decide to hire experienced individuals versus the early, hungry, but inexperienced individuals like Olawale that you had mentioned earlier?
So I think at a point in time when you're growing the business and you want far more stability than experimentation, you must bring in people who are seasoned and who can also challenge your ideas. I'll tell you something. One of our board advisors earlier, before we had a full board, he came for our sessions because I tried to bring them in on a quarterly basis just to see what I'm doing and advise. And he listened to all the presentations and things. And when we were walking out, he said, Abimbola, you're doing very well. You're doing well. But, so there was a but hanging there. And I said, what's the but? He said, but you don't have anyone that can challenge you. I said, they can challenge me. In fact, we're on a first name basis. He said, yeah, I hear all that.
Yeah.
But you have no one that can say, this is the idea Abimbola has put forward.
And this is where it might have some gaps.
So that reflection, I was shaken. And I thought, that's so true. With all his good intentions, Olawale can't really say, Abimbola, we can't do this thing.
Do it.
So when we raised funding, part of why we raised was so that I could steadily attract and then keep people who have worked in places. So I think one of the notable people was someone who had worked in Coca-Cola to come and work in finance. And I was so happy. Because honestly, I wasn't keeping good books. Oh my God.
Which is not unusual.
Early stages
for entrepreneurs, they're just trying to get the job done.
So he came on and he had worked in a large organization. He had been in a London office of another organization. So, hey, welcome.
You have work to do.
Yeah, you have work to do, but I was very lucky, very fortunate. I didn't hire people who were stuck up. There's a way you would hire someone from a corporate organization and they expect paper to be in the photocopying machine. They expect water in the water dispenser. In a startup or a new SME,
it's all hands on deck.
Maybe you have to go and drive down to bring the water. We're building.
Yeah,
we're
we get the job done however it needs to be done.
Get the job done. And I'm very fortunate that I didn't hire people who couldn't understand the realities of starting up a new business. The other major hires came when we needed managers of people. And so they came from experience, some level of experience, from diverse backgrounds again, until COVID showed us that we needed to diversify our business. We needed to pivot. There I needed an executive. So while people were growing, I needed someone who had seen a different kind of business, that had launched products and had seen pharmaceutical distribution through and through. And I was fortunate that there was someone I had been talking to from before I even started the business.
Got it. So there was that relationship.
Oh,
so it wasn't somebody just off of a recruitment agency.
No.
Yeah.
So I went to call on him. That we can afford you now. It was MD or somewhere. And said, he has to be MD here as well. I said, no problem.
We'll give you the title.
I'm founder. See, you'll be MD. See. So I had no qualms about such, because the work needed to be done.
Yeah.
I am not hung up about titles. So when he could claim that, I had to find a different title. That's why when you say, who am I? I'm founder, CEO. Yeah. I think that's important to note. I might joke about it, but really, you must give people accord them the respect that they need. And so he came in as an MD for a full subsidiary, and he's been driving it as though it was his business.
Fantastic.
So when I say I'm fortunate, I'm really fortunate, you get. And of course, we've retained, they have a free hand, they move things.
Amazing.
And then we've promoted someone from manager up onto senior VP. So we have a whole mix. And then we've also hired from the industry someone very articulate with pharmacies. That network of pharmacies used to be one of their top officials. When
they
he
can
finished
bring that on board.
We then brought him in on board. So there are those 5 executives. But I think more people have grown.
Within the organization.
Maybe an officer, and you've grown. And of course, we're open to different kinds of people.
You've painted a very rosy, almost idealistic picture. This is what every entrepreneur dreams of, right? Being able to attract folks with the right level of competence, culture, fit, driving the business, being independent, growing. I mean, that all sounds amazing. But we also know that sometimes things don't often go as we expect them to. I'm curious to hear some of your thoughts on when things haven't gone well, right? Why they didn't go well, and how you've managed those tricky situations.
We've had many instances. When you hear me talk about how well it's going, you won't believe how many we've had. We've had many instances. Just that I can't focus on them. I try to learn from them and apply it going forward. I'll give you one very recent situation. We had someone well recommended, and he came in, foreign trained, beautiful spirit.
CVs and resumes.
Very good can-do spirit. Those nice qualities that I look out for.
So what happened?
And his can-do was overdue.
Okay.
No, don't let me trivialize it. He came in, he had a specific goal. I shared the vision of a specific aspect, and he kept running with it. But he didn't have experience working with people. So he's probably, these are guesses, probably his natural tendency is to lord it over or divide and rule. Whatever, those tendencies didn't go well. And when it caught my attention, I realized something had to give. Was either I let him go or I lose 2-3 people
on the team.
Yes, not just lose them. They could stay, but I would lose
their commitment, their focus.
Lose their commitment. So I let him go.
And how was that conversation?
It wasn't a conversation. He didn't respond.
Oh my goodness.
It was very silly. It went badly. But it had to happen.
It happened, and then you sort of move on from it.
Yes, I moved on. He's moved on. Unfortunately, somewhere else that needed someone like him that had his skills, they found his CV and came to meet me to ask, oh, how is this person? And I'm like, he's great, but...
Just keep these things in mind, and if that works for you...
They didn't hire him.
They didn't hire him.
Someone else who had left, I recommended, and she was taken on. Fantastic pay and all. So that's one example. A second example is someone who was recommended by one of my senior executives. That I've worked with this gentleman, so he'll be great here. And he came on full responsibility, lots of work to do, and he seemed to be doing it well. Very charismatic, beautiful guy. And if he spoke to you, you would get carried away. But I started seeing gaps. Someone would say, oh, this person reports some false claims. You know, and all. I think at a point in time, there were clashes, right? And so he polarized the team. And when that begins to happen, you have that chat and say, you know, this person, it's better you work together than in a polarized fashion. I think the straw that broke the camel's back for me was when I heard one of our staff up country knelt down to ask him for something.
Oh my goodness, okay.
So I couldn't understand what would push a grown human being to kneel down to a colleague to beg for access. It was just, I couldn't conceive it. I couldn't think.
So it means that his leadership style, his engagement style is lording on others.
He must have been barricading access. And I realized that when they needed goods, he would let some have goods and he would let some, others, starve. And so they couldn't make their money. Like, how? Nobody can beg me. I started a company. I don't tolerate such. How can you be the kind of person they're begging? You must have created yourself, you must have made yourself a monster. In this company, you've got to go. So that was a full no. And so I advised HR to help him, get out of the company. You just don't do that.
When do you use performance improvement plans, PIPs, and when do you simply say, you know what, tomorrow, please drop your laptop, drop your ID, and it's been great, but
Lola,
no thank you.
Lola, we hire for technical skills, right? And that's spark. But I've seen us fire more for behavioral infringement than poor performance. Quite honestly, if it's a PIP, there's a plan.
Right.
You're meant to be handling the digital presence of this product.
Right.
And I can't
you're
see
not.
it.
Right.
Come on. Tell me how,
up.
Step up, do. And if it's not improving, in your performance appraisal, 6 months, 3 months, or 1 month, you must show improvement. Honestly, I can tell you, I have seen improvement in almost every case that has come to my attention. And I believe that, so they don't always cut it. But when we bring it to your attention and draw up a plan, they
usually sit up.
They almost always sit up. I can't remember someone we've said to go because of performance. I've seen people go because they just developed an attitude.
Yeah, issues.
We had a young lady and she just was rude to her manager. How are you rude to this manager? Unfortunately, maybe fortunately or unfortunately, she was close to me.
That's the manager.
No, the
young lady.
She used to teach my son to bake.
Okay, so maybe she assumed that since she's close to you, that she could behave.
I hope not. So anyway, she misbehaved at a point in time. We told her she should go for a drug test. You cannot be all right. So her father paid for a drug test.
And it turned out that?
Turned out she wasn't on drugs.
Okay.
So we did the corrections. The committee met with her, corrected her and all that. And then about 3 months afterwards, she was rude. She had to go.
The behavior just didn't change.
The behavior didn't change adequately. So, can I tell you more? Because there are many.
So many.
There's so many. The point is, when it happens, you deal with it decisively. I've had a cousin, like a nephew. You know when someone is so close to you, like a nephew, who worked with us. And since then, we've not hired my family members. I was ready to take him to the police station.
It was that serious?
It was serious, and then he withheld information and closed off a Google document that his whole team was working on. So I said, I'll get the police. So I called his father, and I'm calling the police for your son. Because I can't tolerate nonsense. So you might think that I come across as being open and accepting.
Well, there are also consequences when there's bad behavior.
And then we had a family meeting, and at that meeting I said, unfortunately, he's blocked the chances. I cannot hire anybody else in my family. So when you come now and say you want to work with me, I have no hesitation telling you it's not possible, because I closed that from that guy's bad behavior.
Interesting. So when it's performance related, you work with them through a PIP, but when it's behavioral, you have to take swift action.
We have
right, because you just can't tolerate that for the best interest of the company and to avoid corrupting the culture.
Especially if they think, oh, this one is getting away with it because of Abimbola. That other young man came from one of my board directors. So if he got away with it, the others will feel, so
now they
get away with these kind of things, and then they feel, all that culture thing is yimu,
This has been great, Abimbola. Thank you so much for sharing. Are there any maybe top 3 final tips that you'd want to leave for the audience as you hire talent for early stage founders?
Thank you, Lola. I've had a refreshing time talking with you. But I think, let me drop these 3 things. First of all, be intentional about hiring people. They come in different shapes, different forms. They walk into your life from different angles. Not always the formal way. But when you're hiring, hire for a purpose. And as much as possible, put a dimension to what they will come to do. The second point I would emphasize is that be swift. Be decisive with people. Don't let them linger if they need to go and find themselves elsewhere. They may thrive elsewhere, maybe not where you are. So don't let things linger, because it spoils the rest. It spoils the water for all the others. And I think the third point is that it's not just about money. Money is important, but many times when you show people that you are truly believable and you can be trusted, I think that counts a lot more than whether we're increasing pay by a few thousands.
This has been an incredible conversation with Abimbola. Thanks so much for sharing from your wealth of wisdom and just nuggets of truth that you have dropped during this episode. It's been a pleasure having this chat with you. Guys, hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and hope you learned 1 or 2 things to help you think about hiring talent and retaining talent when you have folks on your team. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time. Please follow us on our social media channels at Instagram at periscope.podcast, on TikTok at periscope.podcast, on Twitter at perismedia, and on YouTube at periscope.podcast. You can also see our content on our WhatsApp channel if you search for Periscope, as well as on our LinkedIn business channel. If you have any questions whatsoever, please go to our website and scroll to the bottom to the Slido page and enter any questions that you may have that you want us to address. You can also leave feedback, comments, and compliments for us. Thank you very much for listening.